Hey, what's going on? This is Mike, and I am the Sports Dope. You can find me on Twitter at that Sports Dope or Instagram at the same handle. You could also go to mindsofmike.com/slash the Sports Dope. It's a shitty website I put together just so I can get an RSS feed so I can get a podcast. And there you'll find links to all sorts of other shit of mine. You'll find links to all the videos and the podcasts, and you'll also, if you're watching it on YouTube, you'll be able to find the iTunes link. If you're listening to it on iTunes, you'll be able to find the YouTube link. But there you go. That's where you can find all my other stuff. So we're here this week. We're going to be talking about daily fantasy week 4 in the NFL coming up. A lot of the games look very interesting this week. A couple of super high scoring ones. A lot of high totals. So I think there's a big pool to choose from. So we're going to dive into the lineups for this week in just a minute. First, we're going to recap what we did last week, maybe learn something that we shouldn't do, talk about some of the percentages, strategies. So a lot of people that won this week, they had one of two combos. And this is why your stack is so important, right? They had either Jameis Winston and Mike Evans. Mike Evans went absolutely nuts. 3 touchdowns, like 190 yards or something insane on the Giants defense, which that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. And the other one was Daniel Jones. He was cheap last week because it was his first start ever. Put up like 40 points, a couple of rushing touchdowns, a couple of passing touchdowns, no interceptions. He did lose a couple fumbles, but all in all, solid performance from my man Danny Dimes, dropping the dimes in there, right? So it's important, your stack. A lot of those winning lineups also had Christian McCaffrey in there. We threw him out. So we were, it's funny, we were actually fairly close on one of the lineups. We'll talk about the other one first, though, real quick, just so we can get to it, because this one was pure shit. Didn't win anything. This is the one I put into the Millionaire Maker, and I came in like a whopping 230,000th or so. Only got 104 points. Would have needed 60 more to get in that first tier of scoring to just about get your money back. But yeah, not a great lineup. Did not do super well. So the first person in the lineup, like I was talking about the stacks. So my stack for this lineup was Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown. I wanted a piece of the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Ravens game, but I didn't want to pay the premium for Mahomes. Sometimes you should just pay the premium. Lamar Jackson only put up 21 points and change, and Marquise Hollywood Brown didn't even reach 6.9. So right off to a bad start right there. So my running backs for this one, Chris Carson and Ezekiel Elliott. Carson was putting the ball on the ground, only had 50 yards rushing. He had negative receiving yards, only got 5 points. Ezekiel Elliott, he's your workhorse, and 19 points is solid, but in the Millionaire Maker, you're looking for a good 25 plus from the guy that you're paying a premium for. We also had Nelson Aguilar of internet fame now that he got made fun of by a guy who was catching babies in Philly. He had a nice day for a cheap price tag, but a lot of people had him. 33% of the entries had him, which is a huge number. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, 50 yards, but he also had a fumble and a drop. And it was ugly. And it was just like my next wide receiver. Chris Godwin, he was nowhere to be found because Mike Evans was just catching everything. I guess that's why Godwin was so good those first couple of weeks. Like, the teams they played actually had a competent secondary player that could cover Mike Evans well enough. And so Jameis was just like, fuck it, I'm going to go to Godwin. Well, this is what happens when you play a secondary that has nobody. Or if the only somewhat possibly competent, maybe not anymore, maybe only in his past, Janoris Jenkins is only like fucking 5'8", and Evans is like 6'4", and gigantic. Like, he's just not going to stop him. But yeah, so Jameis was throwing to Evans all day, so Godwin didn't do shit. 4 receptions. 40 yards, 3 receptions. Sorry about that. Either way, it would have worked out to 7 points. And that's not what you're looking for. Jack Doyle, cheap price tag. Nobody really had him. Less than 0.5%. 8.5 points. Not anything to write home about. Calvin Ridley, an absolutely embarrassing performance in what I thought was going to be a bit of a higher scoring game, even though it did hit 51. But yeah, only 1.6. One catch, 6 yards. Gross. Gross. The defense in that one, I had the Bills, and they did okay, 11 points. But not a good lineup. Did not work out. Chris Carson looks like he might have a little case of the fumbles. So I'd be careful about choosing him going forward until he's got a couple of games under his belt where he's holding onto the ball, and Pete Carroll has a little bit more confidence in him. So I would stay away from Chris Carson going forward. Next lineup. Now this one did well. Put up 165 points. Would have cashed in the Millionaire Maker, but I put this in the lineup with my buddies, and I came in like 4th. So this was where we had some solid players in this one. Solid plays in this one. We started off with the stack, Winston and Mike Evans. Right? That was an unbelievable amount of points. Right off the bat from 2 players, you're getting 75 points. More than 75 points. Solid. Excellent play. Good call. But the rest of the lineup did not pan out. Somebody who did pan out in the lineup, Christian McCaffrey. He was also fantastic. Guy you pay a premium for, puts up 30 points, and that's what you're looking for. Not 18, Zeke. 30 points. All right, Zeke? 30 points if you're paying like 89, 8,800 for a running back. The next one we had up was Raheem Mostert. I thought there was going to be a little bit more of a running going on in San Francisco that day, but it was more of San Francisco turning the ball over 4 times with Jimmy G instead of, and Mostert had one of those turnovers, but he did have 79 yards on the ground, just didn't get in the end zone or anything like that, so you had none of those extra parts. 80 yards, 79 yards is a solid day, but if you're not getting a touchdown, if you're not catching 3 balls for another 20 or so, what are you really doing for me? Mike Evans, we talked about. Christian Kirk, he is just getting a ton of targets out there. Just an absolute, giant bucket of targets. Kyler Murray, he loves him. Maybe it's because Kyler Murray isn't looking over the offensive line. He's looking through a hole. And Christian Kirk is also a little guy. So they're making eye contact through the armpits of the 6'8" linebackers and shit. Maybe that's why he's got so many targets and he's going to him all the time. I don't know. But either way, last week he had 12 targets and 10 catches. But he only caught it 59 yards. So, come on. They gave you 16 points for a $5,000 receiver. Not terrible. So, if you listened last week, Devin Smith, I said that he was going to have a big day because even though Miami is terrible just as a whole, I said Xavier Howard was going to be on Amari Cooper, and so that would shut that shit down, and Devin Smith was next up. Yeah, it didn't happen. Did not fall that way. Xavier Howard, I guess he realizes the Dolphins just don't care. Maybe he got a little note slid in his locker from the owner saying, dude, we're fucking tanking this year. Take it easy, play 60%, and we'll take care of you on the back end if you just stick around. Because, if he leaves, there is literally not a real NFL player on that team. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, so him at 60%, let Amari Cooper get in the end zone a bunch. So Dak Prescott was throwing that way because he was open. And Devin Smith didn't really do shit. 2 receptions, 39 yards for a whopping under 6 points, 5.9. And yeah, a lot of people picked him. Just realized my phone went off, so I'm going to turn that shit off before that starts going crazy. Should have done that beforehand, but guess what? I'm a fucking moron. You'll learn that by listening here. Anyway, so Devin Smith didn't work out. Mark Andrews also didn't work out. After starting super hot, really cooled off, only 15 yards. I think it wasn't so much that he cooled off. I'm sure that he could still catch the ball if you put it in his hands. But I think defenses were oh shit, we should probably cover that guy now. Next one up in the flex, DeAndre Hopkins, paying a premium, not getting the results that you're looking for. Even though Houston put up 27 points, I was surprised to see Hopkins didn't get a little bit more of that. All right. So that's a recap of last week. So we're going to dive into the other lineups, the lineups that I've put together for this week. So this is the lineup I have entered right now into the Millionaire Maker. One of the guys is questionable. I'm going to wait and see. I have an idea of who I'm going to put in if he's out. So I'm going to run through both of those. So let's, without further ado let's dive into this shit. So what I like to do, I like to look at the game totals, see what the higher numbers are, and then be like, oh, I want to pick a bunch of people from that game. So the first game on that list was the Chiefs in Detroit. And I did the same thing I did last week. I want a piece of that game, but I don't want to pay the premium for the Chiefs players. Now, last week I went Lamar, and I was thinking running and this, that, and the other. I honestly do think because they're going to this guy's house, they're going to Matt Stafford's house. It's gross, I know. As soon as I said it, I had my stomach turned a little. But they're going to his house. Everybody can score on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to score, so you're going to have to either catch up or keep up. One or the other. And they have a good passing attack. They do. The Lions have a good passing attack. Matt Stafford, $5,500. And he could throw for 4 touchdowns. That wouldn't shock me at all. If you woke up Monday morning and, you read that the score was 38-31 and Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes, would you really be shocked? I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. So Matt Stafford, $5,500. That's my quarterback. Going down to the running back. I'm going back to the well. I did it last week. I'm doing it again. I'm going Christian McCaffrey. You pay your premium with him, you get premium results. Unlike that fraud Zeke, man. Fuck that guy. Give me Christian McCaffrey going to Houston. Another road game. The quarterback is still a baby, even though he was fantastic last week. Do it again against a below an average, a middle third defense, maybe slightly below the middle of the pack, but still in that middle tier, Houston. So they did it against the lower tier. Now they get to step up a tier. One tier up, a little tier up. And so I think McCaffrey's going to have a big game there too. Houston's defense isn't that great. And they're going to need him because the quarterback's a rookie. He's going to have a couple of rookie moments despite looking fantastic last week, and he's going to need a running back to lean on. So give me Christian McCaffrey, $8,800. Next up on the list, I'm going to Buffalo, and not for the Bills, but for the Patriots. And I'm going with James White, and not for his running abilities, even though Sony Michel doesn't look great, and Rex Burkhead has been leading the charge up there. His pass catching abilities. Julian Edelman's banged up. He's got a chest contusion. I don't even know what the fuck it is. His chest is inward. It's an inverted chest. So James White is going to be running those 5-yard crossing routes. He missed last week. He had a baby. How many times do you see an athlete have a fantastic game? He's like, oh, I just had a baby. It's fucking great. I got all this energy and you're about to get smacked with the baby life, and you're not going to have that energy anymore. But right off the bat, it's really fucking cool. And he's only $4,900. I don't care how good Buffalo's defense is. He's going to catch 8 passes. It might be for 60 yards, and hey, you get a touchdown out of that. That's a solid day for $4,900. Give me that. Into the receivers now. Here comes the stack. Give me Kenny Galladay, $5,900. Him and Marvin Jones have alternated good games. I think this is going to be a good game for Galladay. Like I said, they're going to be airing that ball out. It's either keep up or catch up, one or the other, and they're going to be throwing that rock. $5,900, Kenny Galladay. Next up, Marvin Jones. Double stacking. I don't care. Marvin Jones had a great game last week. It was his first one of the season, and I think he can have another one. Like I said, if Matt Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes, I wouldn't be surprised. Even 3, if these guys each get 1, if the 3 of them could put up what Winston and Mike Evans put up, I would be happy. 3 guys, 80 points, 30 from the quarterback, and then 25 each from the receivers, it's not out of the realm of possibility in this game. Now, the next wide receiver, he's a little bit banged up, and I'm going to check back. I'll tweet something about it in case you do take him. Give me Scary Terry McLaurin. He has been fantastic on that team so far. A bunch of great games. He's still only $4,500. I looked at those totals. Like I said, another high total in this one. Giants, Redskins. Giants, no pass defense, like we said. Terry had a good game against the Bears last week. You think he can't do it against the Giants? Get the fuck out. Of course he can. Give me Terry McLaurin for $4,500. Now, like I said, he's a little banged up, right? So, if he's not playing, go grab Paul Richardson. Similar player, same team, same awful defense that they're playing, and he's a little bit cheaper than Terry. So you'll be okay. For the tight end spot, Seahawks had a rough game last week, but this guy scored a touchdown. Give me Will Dissly. The Cardinals are terrible against the tight end spot. They've given up touchdowns every week so far. So I got Will Dissly in there for $3,600. I still got a big chunk of money to spend here, and I'm going to spend it on my flex. Austin Eckler, the farewell tour, going to Miami. He's going to have a monster game, just beating up on the Dolphins, running it out. Anthony Lynn, he's not going to be scared to just pound him into the fourth quarter because he knows Melvin Gordon's coming back. Right? They already said Melvin's not playing this week. I just read before I did this that might change because Justin Jackson's got a foot thing, so they might get him in the game. But I still can't imagine he has a lot of carries if he reported for the first time to do NFL things this year on Thursday. I don't care how good a shape you're in. Your buddies hitting you with fucking medicine balls or whatever is not the same thing as a 300-pound guy who runs a 4.4 40 and he just smashes you behind the line of scrimmage. I don't care what that means. I don't care if how in shape you think you are. It's a different story. All right, so give me Austin Eckler, the farewell tour in Miami, having a big game out there. Now we're at the defense. Got $3,400 left. Give me the Bears. They're hosting the Vikings at home. The Bears defense just always plays well, right? Always plays well. And I think they're going to be able to stop the run. I thought that last week. I thought Oakland had a sneaky, decent line that might be able to slow down Dalvin Cook. I was fucking wrong. All right? It happens from time to time. Dalvin ran all over him. So Kirk Cousins didn't really have to play. The Bears, they have a real defense, a legitimate defense. They could stop the run. So what does that mean? Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw. Guess what Kirk Cousins can't do? He can't fucking throw. He's terrible. The Vikings have won the games where he didn't have to throw. This one, he's going to have to throw. It's going to be ugly. All right, so recap of that lineup. We got Stafford, McCaffrey, James White, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones Jr. for the rare double stack, Terry McLaurin. If he's not playing, go get Paul Richardson, Will Dissly at tight end, Austin Eckler, farewell tour in Miami, and the Bears defense taking on Kirk Cousins and the Vikings in Chicago. So we got one more coming up. Let's run through this one. This is another lineup. This is what I'm going to be putting in with my friends. Let me get Deshaun Watson at quarterback, $6,400. He's at home. The offensive line is playing very well. He's actually got time to throw the ball. He's hitting his receivers downfield. Carolina, not a great passing defense. Second game on the road for them. I think that Deshaun Watson poised for a big day. First running back up, just talked about him, Austin Eckler, farewell tour. I'm getting two pieces of him because I think this is just going to be that kind of game. And I know that they're going to beat him up a little bit more knowing that they got Melvin Ingram on the horizon, right? So, and Justin Jackson is hurt. The only other option, the next guy on the depth chart is going to be Melvin Ingram. Not a great look after, being on a football team for 2 days. Next up, I got Derrick Henry. He's going to Atlanta, running through that Swiss cheese defense. Mike Vrabel knows. He just knows in his heart, deep down, in his soul, Marcus Mariota, not a real quarterback. He's going to have to run. Derrick Henry's a big, strong, gigantic, fast man. He could put that speedy Atlanta defense, he'll have 8 of them just hanging onto his jersey, running down the field. It doesn't matter. He's going to have a big game out there in Atlanta. And in order to win in Atlanta, in that stadium, in their home, on their turf, you have to control the clock. You control the clock by running the ball with your giant running back, Derrick Henry. First wide receiver, I got my stack, DeAndre Hopkins. If Watson's going to have a good game, Hopkins is going to help him get there. I want a piece of that. Give me that stack. Next guy up, we're talking about Christian Kirk. Like I just mentioned when we were going through the recap, that was the right pick. He had 10 catches. They're throwing the ball to him all the time. It's not for a lot of yards, but if he has a lot of receptions, possibly gets one in the end zone. He's a quick guy. He's speedy. He's got acceleration. He might be able to break one of these. You know, if you catch 10 slants, one of those is going to go to the house, right? He was off last week. Maybe 2 of them go to the house this week. Plus, he's playing Seattle. Not a great defense, right? Outside of Bobby Wagner, Jadeveon Clowney hasn't even looked good yet. The secondary, I don't even know who they got anymore. Shaq, whatever his name is. So, listen, not super scary, right? On this lineup, I do have Paul Richardson. I mentioned him in the last thread or the last talk. He's only $3,700. He's had good games. He had a good game last week. He caught 8 balls and a touchdown against the Bears. They're going against the Giants. They're going to be throwing the ball. This is going to be a shootout. It's still nice here. I'm 10 miles from the Meadowlands. This game on Sunday, it's going to be 82 degrees, no wind. It's going to be a bloodbath for both of these defenses. It's going to be gross. So that's the end of the wide receivers. Next up, give me a piece of the Atlanta game again. I want Austin Hooper. He's been having a good season. He made the Pro Bowl last year. He's always an underrated tight end. For an offense that scores as much as they do, or at least like people like to think that, like people should be thinking about Austin Hooper more. And they're playing in their home, so it's good Falcons week, right? Good Falcons week, unlike when they're playing away. And he played well in bad Falcons week. So, hey, hopefully he play even better during good Falcons week in Atlanta. For my flex spot, I'm taking it back. Taking it back to Andy Reid and LaShawn McCoy. Going old school with them two. Like I was talking about before, huge totals in that game, but I'm not paying a premium for the high-end guys like the Kelce's and the Mahomeses. But give me LaShawn McCoy, $5,600. He could score 2 touchdowns in this game, catch 5 balls, have 80 total yards. That's a good day. That's a good day for $5,600 in my flex spot. Now, last up, defense. I'm taking the Broncos. I love Gardner Minshew.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Shut the fuck up, Alexa. So anyway, sorry about that. Jesus Christ, I can't believe that happened. It's hilarious. But anyway, Broncos in Denver, Mile High. A little bit of altitude for the kids from Florida. Gardner Minshew. Fucking love the guy. I still have faith in my Jaguars to win the division ticket. But I think they're going to have a rough day in Denver. That defense has heard nothing this week except Von Miller and Bradley Chubb don't have a sack yet. They're going to come out swinging. Gardner Minshew, the swagger can only last so long. You can only cut your jeans short so long. So give me the Broncos defense. I think they play well in Jacksonville. They're winless. They're hungry. John Elway's going to go down there, lay his fucking hammer on the table and say, fucking ride this to a fucking win this week because I'm embarrassed of you guys, okay? So, recap this lineup. We got Deshaun Watson for $6,400. We got Austin Eckler for $8,000. Derrick Henry, $6,300. DeAndre Hopkins, $7,700. Christian Kirk, $5,100. Paul Richardson, $3,700. Austin Hooper, $4,300. LaShawn McCoy taking it back with Andy Reid, $5,600, and the Broncos defense for $2,900. All right, those are 2 lineups I'm playing this weekend, and hey, you might as well too, right? Because you sat here, you listened to it, you got the information, make a good argument, and plus, I think they're going to fucking win, right? I think they're going to do well. So, good luck out there. Check out the other videos and podcasts about my picks for the week. Picks didn't start so great. while I was doing the podcast, I had an epiphany that I should do a teaser on Green Bay and the under last night. Both of them lost. The Red double loss teaser. Terrible, but that's okay. Whatever. Couple bucks down the drain. Who cares? Good luck to you guys this weekend and gals out there that are at the sports books. Give me a follow at ThatSportsDope on Twitter and Instagram. mindsofmike.com/thesportsdope is the website. So go there, check out the YouTube and Instagram link is there too, but I meant to say iTunes. But anyway, that's about it. Thank you for hanging out and checking it out. And I'll see you guys on social media. Peace.